What's up again, everybody? I'm finally back from the Pro Tour in Baltimore. I've rested, I've recovered from lots of talking and not very much sleep, and now I'm going to come and talk to you about Dusk Till Dawn, because there are some things in this article that I haven't heard many people talking about or picking up on or just discussing in general, and I think they should be. So we're going to break down the article, what this new set is possibly looking like in a couple of months, of course, and why you should be considering it and why you should really know some of the lore stuff, because I'll tell you what, the storyline never been more important than exactly right now. So first of all, let's talk about Dusk Till Dawn. This is the 10th set in Flesh and Blood, if you're not counting like reprints of like the English versus the history pack other language versions. This is the 10th full set, which is really exciting because they are going to be doing some crazy things. Now, I'm not going to talk about the crazy things yet. I am just going to start by discussing what the 10th set Dusk Till Dawn is all about. And it says this: as dusk consumes the day, the Demonastery's otherworldly shadow hordes tear through the dimensional rift, hellbent on the destruction of Solana. Yet, in their darkest hour, allies emerge in unity alongside the valiant defenders of light, in hopes of once more seeing in the break of dawn. So this is an expansion set. It's a supplemental set, and it is going to return us to the story, which is the War of the Monarch. This is the main storyline going on, and I believe with this set they are going to begin the process, if not fully complete. Now, I think begin is better. They are going to begin the process of weaving together the disparate storylines that have kind of snaked across Wraith, and they're going to start putting those together. And there's a couple of reasons why I believe that, but there are also some very exciting things in this set. First of all, it is the 10th booster set since Flesh and Blood was released, which is super exciting. I'm really excited personally, and they have some crazy stuff planned. First of all, they are bringing back Prism, because Prism was one of the heroes that LL'd. They are not bringing back Chain yet. Chain is actually not going to be returning in this set, and in his place there will be Finset, which is right here. Finset is a new Shadow Runeblade hero. This is the young version, the young art version. We have not seen the adult art version yet. You know it's the young version because, well, they say it, and it's also Finset with no like second name, no subtitle. And you can see here is where they talk about all of that info, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. I might as well talk about it now. Finset brings a new interpretation of the forbidden arts to the gaming tables. Her ability to manifest dark arcana by rune gating it in through the dimensional rift serves the Demonastery in their quest to extinguish the light of soul, returning Wraith to a blank canvas of darkness from which it can be rebuilt in the uncorrupted vision of the Demonastery. So, new Shadow Runeblade hero that is going to be tapping into the arcane and doing something that I'm going to predict is going to be pretty monumental for the game, and we'll talk about why here in a moment. And it all kind of pivots on what Prism has done in this set and how she's going to influence the way this game plays in this set. Now, everything that I'm going to say from this point forward is either extrapolated from this article or conjecture by me. I did have conversations, very brief, about this set with a variety of people, and outside of some just very general comments about how excited they are for people to see this set, I was told that it's going to be a very unique set and supplemental set, and it's going to be very cool. So that is all I can say for that I was told, and so everything to this point is conjecture. So first things first, Prism. Hey, this is art done by Livia Prima, the original artist of Prism, and I absolutely love her work. I think this is fantastic, and I am so impressed by Livia Prima that on many occasions I have attempted to email her, and then I have chickened out. That's my life. I get nervous around talking to really good artists, and that's just me. All right, Prism Advent of Thrones is the subtitle for the young hero, but this is the first point that I want to bring up that I haven't heard people talking about. This is the young Prism art, and it has a subtitle, Prism Advent of Thrones, but this is not the adult hero because Prism's new adult version, Prism Awakener of Soul, will be revealed to open preview season on Friday, June 30th. Now stop, what does that mean? There are 2 Prisms in this set. There are 2 Prisms, presumably different Prism effects in this set. That's really crazy. Now, I could be wrong. What they could be doing here, and this is the interesting thing, is that Prism Awakener of Soul is the subtitled name, and that Prism Advent of Thrones is the exact same effect and same function. It's just that they had to give her a new subtitle because they can't just say Prism again. And they can't call it Prism Awakener of Soul Young or anything like that. So it could be that these are the same effect, or it could be that the Prism Awakener of Soul has a functionally different effect. Both are totally on the table. Both are viable. They could have a different effect for the young Prism than for Prism Awakener of Soul, and that is really cool. So 2 different subtitles. There could be different functions. Obviously, young Prism is just called Prism in like the current form, and so they can't just write Prism again. So they might have just picked a different subtitle that does not match this so that you could say the different, cards. But it also could be just 2 functionally different versions of Prism. Obviously, Prism when she was younger, and then Prism in this exact moment in time when this set is occurring. And how do we know this is the exact moment in time when the set's occurring? Well, first of all, they say that because this is the Prism from the set. But second of all, look right here. Look right here. Where is it? I spent so long looking for this a moment ago. It's right here. It's right here. Aha, there it is. Archangels of Solana, a figment of imagination from a story long forgotten. Yet, in the dusty pages, an awakening awaited. So if you know anything about what Prism is doing or has been done or, did in the past, she was found in a library. No one knew where she was from, and she loves to read books, okay? She's very adept at illusioning. She's an illusionist. That's now a verb. She's very adept at it. She's so good, in fact, that in Solana's darkest hour, Prism's heralds, the things she's been creating as illusions, maybe they were so convincing that people just believed them, or they were so powerful that they have actually awoken the 8 archangels of light that will now fight alongside their valiant heroes. So be it now nor ever, the shadow shall not pass through the 8 gates of Solana. Now here's the cool thing. Prism, in reading and studying all about soul and the lights and that sort of stuff, Prism has been using these 8 heralds as sort of her her key off of how the same way that Dromai as an illusionist has gone and found all of the 8 dragons from each of the regions, which is certainly pointed, and has then used those as what she coalesces out of ash and sand. Prism is sculpting these 8 heralds out of light, and in doing so, she has awoken the actual archangels of light, all 8 of them, to protect the 8 gates. So there's 8 gates, and there's 8 archangels, and there's 8 Prism heralds, and one of them, by the way, we've actually heard of because Bellana is actually already in the story and has been mentioned before. In fact, if you go and look at Bolton's hero story and his explanation, of his hero lore, Bellana actually comes to him and chooses him as her champion and imbues him with light power so that he can fight against the hordes in this moment. So we've actually already seen Bellana appear in the story, but now she appears in the actual game as a light angel ally, which makes sense because Bolton is the champion of Bellana, at least if I remember correctly from my lore. By the way, if you want more lore about what's going on in the story right now, let me know in a comment below. If you like that sort of thing, those videos are a labor of love, but if you want to be caught up with the battle between light and shadow, how it all began and where it's all going, let me know in a comment below. Now, Bellana is an ally, and she's a light angel, which means she can be played by any light hero, and we can assume there's going to be a few more light heroes outside of, Bolton, and maybe we get a new Prism and that sort of stuff. But she is an ally, and she says that if you complete the effect, put a +1 counter on each angel you control. So we can expect there to be a chunk of these angels, of these allies. And angels, for example, if you are expected to gain some amount of value by banishing a card from your soul when you attack with Bellana here, you can gain a buff. Now we're starting to see a bigger emphasis on board presence. Okay, Prism already did this prior, but it was with, Spectral Shields and Spectra in general. Now we have actual characters, just like Soraya, that we've seen before, but actual characters that we can establish on the board and attack with. And, if we are going to take damage, Bellana destroys and prevents it with Ward 4. So there's a little bit of a difference between just having a, permanent that exists until someone completely attacks it, which makes it interesting. But we can see that this is also going to be playable by Boltyn. And this is quite interesting because now we're looking at a board state creator in Prism, and what I believe to be a board state creator in Finset. Finset brings a new interpretation of the Forbidden Arts to the gaming tables. Her ability to manifest Dark Arcana. Manifest as if she is, stitching pieces of Dark Arcana together. Stitching to create, something. I feel as though we have a natural foil here and the final culmination of the art that could have been depicted or that was depicted on Monarch's key art. So I'm just going to show you. Look. By the way, here's the key art for Dusk Till Dawn. Let me just take a moment, take an aside, to go to the retailer's marketing assets. By the way, you can look at all this yourself if you want. If you go all the way back to Monarch, there was a key art that was first shown off, and it looked like this, and it was the battle between the light and darkness, and we had angels, which we never saw pan out. And then we had demons, which we also never saw pan out. And that's quite interesting because, we kinda might be having exactly that with someone who can stitch Dark Arcana together to possibly manifest things, and some angels that have already been spoiled. What am I saying? I'm basically saying this. I think that we're getting a Necromancer style of Shadow Runeblade here that can probably deal some arcane, but also can create shadow allies versus your angel light allies. And you're going to be able to play a board state game of back and forth with these characters. I very much think that's going to be the case, and I don't know if anyone else has expressly said that, but I believe they probably have, and I just missed it. I've been a bit busy getting kind of stuck behind the booth a little bit there at Pro Tour when all this got announced, but I haven't seen it talked about, but I bet some people have already kind of hinted on that, and I just want to say I am with them if they have, so if that's you, down in the comments below, let me know. Finset, I think, is going to be the Shadow Runeblade that allows us to get our Necromancer vibes on and create little, shadow allies where we can run those into, a Bellana, for example, and the light allies. And I think it's going to be very interesting. Finally, we may have shadow allies besides Blasphemette. I think it was Blasphemette. And then the other one, the name that I forgot, the cool one. Why'd I blank on the other one? Let me know in a comment below. The other one, the one that Chain could create. What was that one? The Soul Heart. Urser. There it is. Urser. You probably beat me to it. Nevertheless, this is going to be a huge set, and it is supposed to be a set that feeds it's a supplemental set, so it could feed everyone. There's 8 legendaries. We could actually just straight up get 4 light, 4 shadow legendaries, because this really does appear to be sinking its teeth deeply into the lore of light versus shadow. I also gotta say, I do think that there's something more going on to the light side of Soul. And there's been some hints at some possible, I don't know. And maybe I'm reading into it, but some of the art that we've possibly seen seems a little bit like less than peachy for some of the light things that have been going on. But there is one other thing I wanted to point out, and it's something that they hinted at right here. Allies emerge in unity alongside the valiant defenders of light, and a couple people have pointed out this art that I'm about to show you. But I think this is really interesting. It has some heavy implications, perhaps. So, at the very least for the storylines, this sentence implies that these allies that are emerging in unity are not the valiant defenders of the light. And we can see that if we look at this beautiful key art. And this beautiful key art is very difficult to see when I also have the key art right behind it, so I'm going to turn off the key art there. Now looking here, if you're looking at the screen, we actually have all of the heralds represented. Let me make this easy for you to see. I'm going to just cover my face up for a minute and then put this big on screen. So here's this. Okay, now look, I'm going to put my screen. There we go. So this is Herald of Ravages. This is Herald of Judgment. We have Herald of Triumph, one of my personal favorite arts. And then we have Herald of Rebirth. Then over here we've got, this is Herald of Ravages. It's hard to tell because she has a sword, but like it's also the swishy hair. Cool hair. Herald of Protection because of the crown and the shoulder pads, the pauldrons, I believe is what they're called. Let me know if that's wrong. Then we have the Herald of, War-Tune Herald, and then finally down here, it's kind of hard to see, but this is Herald of Tenacity with the glowing orb and the cool scepter. Now, that's not all we have, because over here, hey look, it's Lexi. That's literally Lexi walking up towards Sol. And also, Oldham. Now, this could imply Briar, but it's got a spear instead of a sword, and it black hair, so I'm not quite sold on that, but let me know if this is someone possibly else. And then, when we come over here, of course, we see this is Prism leading the way. This is most likely like a Templar. I think they're called Templar. Let me know. What was the... oh man, I think it's a Templar. What was the hero, the mentor for the Classic Battles set? What was the mentor, the warrior mentor? Were they Grand Magisters? No, I think this is a Magister. This is Shiana. I mean, it's got the white hair and everything. It has to be Shiana. This right here, though, looks very wizardy. With the cloak, but this could not be, maybe this is not implying something like an Icelander. I don't think that this would be Icelander, but it could be implying that. Of course, down here we have Bolton. This definitely appears to be Bolton, which would make sense because he would be in the battle between the light versus shadow. He's already been shown to be there, but all of this to say is that the inclusion of these two wonderful heroes down here definitely implies that the storyline is taking where they were, where kind of picking up after they finished wrapping up their story, and it's bringing them together. So we might be finally seeing some of these heroes meet for the first time, and we could be seeing those in the preview season where it talked about these characters and these story beats, finding, I don't know, they're joining together in like these milestone moments. But this is going to be a really, really fun set, I think, and it's going to do some really cool things. As far as like what the actual set is going to be concerned with, or like what you're going to be able to do, you are going to have the opportunity to celebrate alongside me the card preview season from June 30th to July 2nd in one weekend. Then there's a pre-release that's going to happen where you're going to get to draft Monarch, which is actually one of my favorite draft sets. Low-key, really fun to draft. July 7th through 9th, and then the release date of July 14th. And so you're drafting Monarch, and then they're giving prize support for Dusk Till Dawn boosters, which, by the way, this booster looks really, really sick. Yeah, this is going to be really cool. You can get a cold foil Young Finset, and you can get a cold foil Prism Advent of Thrones. But this is what I want to share with you. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit long and rambly, but if you just wanted a video to kind of sit back and relax with, make this number go slightly higher, and we'll do more after today. We'll have another one tomorrow. I have some other topics I want to cover, particularly about the Pro Tour, and some decks that we saw do some really cool things. So if you want to watch that video, make sure you have hit the subscribe button so you get notified whenever that video posts. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.